Hey guys, hope you're having a good day so far and being able to get some things done that you wanted to. Um, and yeah, I'm dropped off kiddo at piano lessons, so I'm waiting for that to get over, and then we got some other errands to run. Uh, but I was just thinking today, I recently saw a couple of videos about this, and I've learned about it a lot in the psychology and business books and all those kind of things that I like to read. And I thought maybe we talk about it because I think it's something that a lot of people do struggle with. Um, and especially kind of as school is getting going again and new opportunities. Sometimes, for some reason, a lot of people think of the beginning of the year as the time for new things. But for some reason, it's always been, September for me is when I kind of think of starting new things. And I'm not sure if that's because you have more time to be inside, or if that's just because that was when the new school year started. And so I think it's still a holdover for me. But this time, getting up to August, September is when I start thinking about what are the new things that I want to learn now. What are the things that I want to try, and it's also a time for our kiddos as they're getting ready to go back to school, and maybe trying to look forward to what they're gonna study in college, or what kind of jobs they want to look for, or all those things. And so we have more conversations around this time of year about what we want to accomplish or what we want to do than I ever do in January. But maybe I'm just weird on that. So if so, just take this as your January wake up call. um, but anyway, one of the things that I was looking at is the idea of learned helplessness, and how we get conditioned by responses from people in our lives that sometimes make us not want to try new things, that make us scared to try new things because we're accustomed to not getting the help, or not getting the response, or not getting um, whatever it is that we feel like we need to make that next step. And so, how do we help ourselves? How do we help our children not live in a mentality of learned helplessness? And it's a coined term that's been around for a long time. It's not a new concept, but I think people are often, and I've been surprised sometimes at how easily it happens for us. I think we've seen it, with animals a lot of times. That's an easy one to see. When an animal has been mistreated, they no longer even try to get away from it anymore. They just stay there, and um, they'll take, getting kicked or whatever, prodded, poked, the uh, shock kind of experiments that were done a lot of times, and they would just stay there. The ones that got shocked and there was no way for them to help themselves, they would just stay there and not move away until physically somebody came and showed them you can move away. Like, they had to pick them up and move them at least 2 times before they thought, oh, there's some help here. Like, I can get away from this painful thing. But yet, so many times in our lives, we keep going back to the same things over and over, and getting the same response, the hurtful response a lot of times. You can't do that. You're not smart enough. You're not whatever. Because we don't have other good voices telling us that we can. And so, how do we help ourselves? How do we help our children deal with that concept? Another example for you was one I just saw of a classroom that was split into 2 groups, and half the group got words. Well, they both got a set of words, a set of 3 words, and half the group, you know, she said, okay, solve it as fast as you can. They were mixed up words, mixed up letters to make a word. And so it said, as soon as you finished doing the first word, raise your hand. And so all these kids on one side of the room raised their hand pretty quick, while the kids on the other side of the room had no clue. And so they're just kind of looking around at each other, like, am I dumb? But there's other people who didn't get it. What's going on here? And so she's like, okay, no problem, no problem. Let's go to the second one. And so they go to the second one, and the same thing happens. The same people that were able to get the first word get the second word, but the other side of the class couldn't get it. Not a single one could get it. And then they get to the third word, and you can just see the expressions and everything on the face of the people. The ones that have been successful are all, rah, rah, rah. And the ones that haven't been able to solve the other 2 words are just kind of dumbfounded. I'm like, what is going on here? And so she says, let's do the third word. And you can just see that a lot of those kids on the side that hadn't been able to solve the first two, they just kind of checked out. They said, obviously I couldn't do the first two, so I'm not going to be able to do this one. And they just kind of checked out. And the result was that they had been given two different pieces of paper, right? And the ones that had been able to solve it were given real words. There was something in there, what, or whatever. I can't remember what the words were. But the ones on the other side of the room had been given just gobbledygook, and there was no way to solve them, except for the last one they could have solved if they had been willing to try it again. But they had been burned those first two times, and they were unwilling to look the fool or to whatever it was in our minds, just like them and just like us, we don't want to try again because, well, I didn't get it the first two times, so why keep trying? And that's what we come up against in our life. Hopefully there are people that you have in your life that are good mentors for you, that will help you on whatever it is that you're wanting to learn about or the journey that you want to take. But oftentimes there aren't people that do that, and we have to be our own cheerleaders. I remember multiple times in my life, both as a newly married wife, as a mom, as a business person, as an athlete, or somebody who is wanting to focus on some of those things, that I often desired and even prayed for a mentor. And many of the times I didn't get one. And so, I could have sat back and said, oh, well, I'm not cut out to do that thing. And nobody's going to help me. So, and I keep trying it and I'm not doing well. Or we can press forward and try and do it a different way. And at some point in time, things usually kick in, but we have to keep trying enough times for that to happen. And we find this with people, if you're in a job that you don't like, don't just stay there because it's the easiest thing. You're not helpless to get out of it. Maybe there won't be this great, Daddy Warbucks, figure that shows up in your life, or, just even something more minimal. Maybe it won't, but you don't have to keep standing there getting shocked, taking the abuse, because you're in a place that isn't where you want to be. And when we just lie down and accept that, it's teaching our minds that we shouldn't want anything else. We shouldn't try for anything else. This is the best that it's going to be. This is as good as it gets. And I just want to encourage you to really look at your thought process. And a lot of times we don't reach out for help because we're so sure that somebody won't want to help us or encourage us or teach us the ropes. And often we just have to overcome that first fear, and there will be somebody who will do that. Maybe you call two people and they say, no, I can't do that right now. I don't have the time. But the third one might be ecstatically happy to help you. And we have to just keep persevering in those things instead of just settling into a life of learned helplessness. And it's a very important thing for us to remember as parents, to help our children. Like, yeah, okay, you didn't do well on that the first time or the second time, but that doesn't mean that you won't do great on the third or the fourth or the fifth time. Keep trying. If this is something that you really have a desire to do, then it's okay. Keep working at it. And I really do believe that at the heart of most people, we do want to help each other. We have a desire to help others succeed. And sometimes it's just the right meeting of the right minds at the right time to make those things happen. Is there luck? Is there, I like to call it blessing because I know that my life is designed and ordered by my Creator, and so I call it a blessing. But I do know that there are times when just missing something by 1 second would have made all the difference, and so people like to refer to it as luck or whatever, but I know that those times do happen where maybe it was the fifth time that you went out for that audition and you almost didn't go because you had something else and you thought, I haven't made it on these other ones, I'm not going to go. And something changes last second and you get there and you get the part, and it ends up being something that you really wanted, or maybe not that glorious. It doesn't always have to be like from 0 to 1,000 for it to be an awesome experience. But um, putting yourself out there enough times, luck will smile on you. And I think that's what we have to remember. So if you're struggling with that, if you're dealing with any kind of unease and feeling helpless in your life, whatever it is that you want to change, just don't sink into that. Remember that you have the power, you have the ability to change that, and that hopefully there will be somebody that comes along that will be willing to help you and walk the road beside you. And but don't just settle. So anyway, I hope there was something in there that was good for you, and there's things that I wish I would have known when I was younger, so that maybe I wouldn't have wasted so much time on saying I can't do that. It hasn't worked out well before. So anyway, I hope it is something helpful for you, and that you have a great day, and go out and try something new, and think about what you want to do new this coming fall, in the beginning of the school year, whatever it is, however you phrase it, or if you want to wait and start it in January. But just don't wait too long, because that's another way that we procrastinate. It's another learned helplessness trait. So anyway, I hope you guys have a great day. I'll talk to you later. Bye.